Christopher Complex, the lion on the mount, the next, the last father, labeled by some, the man who understands the one. It's your Sham Pimple Pimp, keeper of the flame. What's my name? I'll continue it through. I'm so funky I can smell it on you. And if I don't, I can blow you some smoke, so you can stink, and not that kind that comes from dope. I'm that Bama Seminole Choctaw by the way of Brooklyn. I'm official, got my papers, and I didn't even need none. I'm so wise, even if he was old, I would make you my son. What's up, y'all? I'm just playing around. I was listening to Eddie Murphy and that old Dolomite. So I needed to make my own little Dolomite little thing right there. So anyway, man, what's up, y'all? This is the Christopher Complex. You know, we still trying to develop this show. And I was like, you know, thinking about it. I was just like, you know what? The best way to make the show is to really just make it, you know, your spirit. And I was like remembering something that Oprah Winfrey said. And maybe this is the message of the day. Oprah said, the best thing that you can do, your best job or your best, I guess, thing that you're trying to strive for is just try your best to be your best you, because no one can do that better than you. You're the only one that can be you, and you're the only one that can be the best you. So in developing this show and trying to figure out where it's going to go, I know it's going to be complex. A whole bunch of things are going to happen. You know, I was just like, you know what? Let me remember that one thing. So we're going to make this one, you know, short, simple, and sweet, just so we can get that momentum. You know, momentum is so important. So this one right here, I'm going to call the project or creation is bigger than you. And what I mean by this, if you know, Morris Day, from the time in that whole camp of the Minneapolis Sound, he came out with a book. And, you know, you should get a copy. I'm going to get the name of that book in a minute. I read the book, or I did my Audible about the book. And I wanted to not give you what the book is about, but talk about a particular theme. And that theme that Morris describes, or one of the themes, it's not the main theme, but it's something that comes out in the book. And I just wanted to label it, the project or creation is bigger than you. When you read the book and you take the journey that he walks you on, and you get to see all of the things that he's seen. No Holds Barred is in the book. By the way, the book is great. It's a great memoir. It's original in the sense of he wrote it his way with, of course, you know, his writing partner and stuff like that. But you can tell that the book is exactly what Morris wanted to say. So, Mr. Day, if you ever hear this, great book. I learned a lot from it. I cracked up. I cried. I did a whole lot of emotional trips because, you know, I love those guys. Prince, Morris, Jam, Lewis, all of those, you know, dudes. And Morris talks about it. But there is a theme that Morris talks about that I think that gives us insight. And I always like to talk about insight and how we can learn and get things from it to make sure our lives are better. That's the whole point. We want to make sure our lives are better so we can make other people's lives better. And there's a theme. It might be a minor theme, and it's like the creation or the project is bigger than you. So what does that mean? Morris is saying in the book, or he gets to the point of his journey, going through all that he's been through, the ups, the downs, the sideways, all of the stuff that he's been through, all of the stuff that his influences, all of the stuff that his best friend Prince has put him through. He realizes in the end that the project, what they were creating, and I will also add this, Prince's memoirs is about creation. It's all over the internet, and he says just create, and from there, you know, things will happen. Good things will happen. So Morris gets to the point where he says in the book, I'm trying not to give away the book. I'm trying not to tell you where things are in the book because, you should read it. But just trying to pull out this minor theme. It could be major, actually. That he realized the creation, what they were creating, what they were doing. Some people will say the galaxies lined up, the stars lined up. Everything that was being created from this group of men, from this leader, Prince, it was bigger than them. And egos get in the way. Tyler Perry also said the same thing. He said, your dreams, get up and accomplish your dreams because people are waiting on you to accomplish your dreams. They need to get a job because your dream is working. They need to activate their dream because your dream is going. They need to produce, create, live, thrive because your dream is going. That goes for me. That goes for everybody. And Morris Day is saying that in the book, that at the end of it all, or somewhere in life, you realize that it wasn't more important that you entertain the ego so much, or you entertain the many aspects of you, that you stay focused on the project, what you're creating, because this project that you're creating, this creation that you not to say it again, but creating, is bigger than you. It's going to affect so many people's lives. It's going to enrich so many people. It's going to make things so much better for a lot of people. It's going to be the soundtrack of someone's life. It's going to be the influence. It's going to be the job. It's going to be a life's work. There are people depending on the creation or the project that you're creating. It's bigger than you because it's a catalyst. It's the bullet train that's going to get you to the next level. So, for instance, I remember when I had a band. I still do have a band. I'm getting ready to make another one. But sometimes you read in the news bands break up, music bands, or partnerships break up for whatever reasons. What the theme in the book and the theme that we should all kind of learn from is when something positive is being created, there may be disagreements or there may be, bumps in the road or whatever. Maybe we should take a minute to look at how much more, not just profitable, but how much more beneficial it is for us to get the project or creation to a point. Take this podcast. So when I originally thought about doing this podcast, I thought about taking all of the things that I learned and spitting it back out so other people can get from it. Now the ego will get involved and say, "Oh, you shouldn't do it because who are you?" But who are you? I had to learn will come. And here's what I mean by who are you will come. Going back to Oprah Winfrey said, the best thing that you can do is be the best you. Now, on day one, it just might be you in the room. But then on day two, it still might be you in the room. But if you continue to get at it, eventually, if it's right, if it's true, if it's solid, if it has integrity, the you by yourself in the room will become the influential you, where now you draw attention to the room or draw people to you in that empty room. Because the project that you created, Arnold Schwarzenegger said it best too. He said when he was young, he would lift the weights for his competitions. He would eat right. He would do everything, also going to work to pay his bills. And then he would, at that time, in the 70s, tell the world what he did. We say it post now, post it on Instagram or whatever, but he would Do something, then tell the world what he did. Do something, then tell the world what he did. And he says, you'd be surprised that it will eventually build up into something. And now we only have one Arnold Schwarzenegger. There is nobody else. He could have children. There will never be another Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the project that Arnold Schwarzenegger was creating was himself. And he wanted to create a character, a star, a force of nature, a force to be reckoned with. He wanted to create what we call Arnold Schwarzenegger now. It's the accumulation or culmination of all of the roles he had: Terminator, all the action films, the weightlifting, the presidential weightlifting challenges or fitness challenges that he's done, the governorship, all of that stuff. So for me, who's doing this podcast, I might be like, man, you know, I really don't think I should be doing it because who's going to listen to me? You know, but it's also the same with my music, because I might say that same thing with that too. And then other people might be like, oh man, you should just do this one thing. But as I said, the Christopher Complex Show is about being complex, and we have so many things that we want to do. And going back to the theme of this show, the project or creation is bigger than you. If you had a project and you put it down and you said, oh, my time is done, that is not true. Pick it up. If you still the artist, if you still the person that could rock the crowd, if you still the photographer, if you still the writer, if you still the professor, or whatever it is, that creation, that project is bigger than you. You need to do that because there's some souls out there that you need to touch, and only you can touch them the way they need that touch or that interaction or that influence. So we all have to do that. And when I read Morris's book, looking back, because he's having a conversation with Prince sometimes in the book, that being saying that's not giving away the book, but he's having that interaction, and he clears up a lot of things. And one of the things he realizes is that the project, the work, was bigger than him, and Prince included. And that was something that he learned from Prince, and Prince was constantly trying to tell him that this work is important. They might have labeled it soul, funk, or whatever, or R&B, but the work of getting the music out, the music was bigger than them, because it affected so many lives in a positive. It may have had some negatives to it, but it affected so many people, and it enriched their lives. And when he stepped away from the project, the enrichment of his life decreased. Do you have a project or a creation that you stepped away from, and you could evidently tell that the enrichment of your life has decreased? Maybe you settled. Maybe you said, well, it was fun when it lasted. Who said that it was over? You? I'm quite sure the Creator never said it was over. I'm quite sure you're the one, your ego said it was over. I'm quite sure I can't do that now. I'm old. I can't move like I used to. You may not need to move. You may just need to use the knowledge and translate that knowledge to somebody that can use it. You might just be the influence to continue it on. You might not need a physical son, but you might be able to father or mother somebody in their dream, or if that makes sense, which I think it does. So it's important that we recognize that this project that we had or have is bigger than us, and we need to do it all the time. So as I use myself as an example with this show, and I know my opening might have been Like, what the hell? But if we continue to hold ourselves back, continue to decolorize who we are, and make ourselves more acceptable. So I guess being gray, shades of gray and stuff like that is acceptable when the celebrities are vibrant colors to us. If we continue to decolorize ourselves and say, that project is dead, that thing I was creating is dead, I just know that that's wrong. And in Morris Day's book, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to get that title for you. In Morris Day's book, he says it clearly that the project, the work that Prince and him, Jam, Lewis, all of them were doing, that work was so important, and he misses it, and he's getting back to it, and it's just giving him so much to live for. I think that's the reason why some people just cannot stop working. If you look at, as much as they criticize Jerry Jones for what he does with his football team, if you really look into Jerry Jones' track record, his life, and what he's done, you can say all the stupid stuff about, he needs to get off the field, he needs to get out of the way. But on the flip side of that, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. And it may not be acceptable right now, but I guarantee you we're going to learn some positive things about a person like Jerry Jones and what an owner should do. Right now it's like not cool, but eventually it will be, because he understands that his project, the Dallas Cowboys, is exactly what he should be doing. So the name of that Morris Day book is called On Time, A Princely Life in Funk by Morris Day. You should get it, and you'll see in the book that theme, that the project, the creation, the work that you're doing, you should not stop to put it down. You should not say it's over. You should continue to move on with it, do it, not worry about what people think. That's a Gary Vaynerchuk thing, and just keep going. So enough of that. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Get your ego out of the project and just get it done. So that's what I'm doing, and hopefully I can influence some of y'all to do the very same thing. I also wanted to do something, because this is the Christopher Complex show, and I wanted to talk about music. I always want to talk about music. I want to talk about things that I think and I wish some people would do if there was a magazine or a podcast. So it's mine. So when it comes to soul and funk, I was thinking about this particular songwriter. So I'm going to call this working title of this segment is called Recognize Why It's Important. I want to recognize a songwriter that most of us, we love his music. However, most of us don't know his name, what he and his name to the pieces of music that have been like serious etch marks in our life. My uncle put me on to making sure I recognized who this cat was, and ever since then I did. And I was just like, what can I bring to the table to this, podcast, kind of like magazine. Since I'm complex and I'm just flipping back and forth. So there's a songwriter named Skip Scarborough. Unfortunately, he has passed. He's a black guy, and he wrote some very famous songs. And I want to make sure that we have in our own media, and since media is controlled by us with these podcasts and these posts and stuff like that, I want to say, hey, if I'm going to do a podcast about this particular person or that, if I can control that narrative, I'm going to do that. So I wanted to, hey, take some time out and start recognizing people of all walks of life, current, people that may have passed that didn't get enough spotlight. So Skip Scarborough, You know him because he wrote the Love Ballad song by LTD. If you've ever been in love, or you just like love ballads, you like music, if you like Jeffrey Osborne, if you like LTD, which I found out that Prince was a huge LTD fan. Now I can hear it, and he loved Jeffrey Osborne's voice. When you find out, or if you like R&B, it's impossible for you not to know Love Ballad. He also wrote Earth, Wind, and Fire's Can't Hide Love. D'Angelo did it over. A whole bunch of people did that over. Can't Hide Love is awesome song. Awesome song. If you love Giving You the Best That I've Got by Anita Baker, there he goes again. If you like Bobby Humphrey's Lover to Lover, Patti LaBelle's Music is the Way of Life, It's All Right With Me, Come With May, Love and Learn. These are songs written by this guy, and Confunctions Fun. So I wanted to point this gentleman out. He has, what's that? Sorry, before I start saying that, Bill Withers, Lovely Day. Who does not like that song? Again, Skip Scarborough. Unfortunately, he passed of cancer at a very young age, but the compositions that this man has collaborated or has just done on his own, phenomenal. And we need to point these people out. We need to not forget them. These are Beethovens too. These are Mozarts too. These are people that are critical to culture, to the arts, and there are probably no avenues for them to get shine and stuff like that. So I just wanted to point this brother out, and I'm going to try to keep doing this. And if you guys think that there's somebody I should throw out there and put out there, oh yeah, he done the Emotions, Don't Ask My Neighbor. Bunch of people did that over. Mother's Finest Love Changes. Anyway, this cat is cool. Look him up. Let's keep him in our hearts. Let's recognize the artists, because music artists are not like painters, and vice versa. Once the painter dies, we start to really appreciate them, because no one's ever going to paint like that again. Well, no one's ever going to paint songs like Skip Scarborough again. So to Skip, thank you for all the music. His music right now, I guarantee you, somewhere in this world, Skip's music is always being played. So if you get a minute, to check out one of them songs. Again, and it just came to my thought, George Benson did it over. Did it over in guitar and song form. Guitar and voice. Just, the cat is dope. The cat is so dope. Again, I want to also bring up, for the New York scene, it might not be like that in other places in the country, but for the New York scene, we want to do very soon a battle of the bands. I was sitting down talking to one of my bass player cats, who was at in front of Atlantic Terminal, if y'all know where that's at, and we were just saying it needs to be more of a scene when it comes to soul, funk, non anti-age. Just, you can play and you dope. And I just said, as I said before, man, wouldn't it be cool, like you in New York, and you can go to a battle of the bands, or you can go to a music scene where the bands are just tearing it up. It's too much control in New York. Meaning, if you're a band and you don't have 100 people, you gotta go through these channels. These little promoters make money off of you. It just needs to be a scene where you don't have to worry about that, and you just, you're there because everybody else is there, and the scene doesn't need to be dictated by the fact that you're 15, and what's supposed to be hot. it's just impossible for us to think that, you know, top 40 is it. It's just not. So I'm really serious about doing this Battle of the Bands in New York. If you're a band, you're an artist that has a band, and you guys want to participate in this, hit me up at the Chris Complex on Twitter, and I'll hit you back. Also, if you're a new artist, old artist, ancient artist, artist that doesn't have any existence on this planet right now, you're in the future and you didn't get there yet, and you got some music, you gotta have some music, and you know, music's gotta be done. You know, it can't be like an idea. I'll try my best to listen to it and, you know, bring you on the show, because there's no venue for artists, you know, in terms of what they're doing. Some artists just make singles, they don't have full albums, and you know, we wanted to start interviewing artists, and that's also visual, so you don't have to just be a musician. You know, you can be a photographer, you can be a dancer, you want to plug something, you want to use the podcast to get a nice interview in so you can promote it, do what you got to do, hit me up at the Chris Complex. You don't have to be in New York where I'm at. You can be anywhere in the world. So hit me up at the Chris Complex. This is the Christopher Complex Show. I will see y'all when I see y'all. I will listen to y'all when I listen to y'all. Y'all will listen to me when I say something or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, you know. So let's have some fun today. Do what you got to do, and let's make it a great life. I don't know. How the hell are you getting this off? I need to write it down.